remember from Colorado, where he was going to games separate from the team, right? Or like there were all these different things about like all this different stuff that was going on.
You know, 5th round, he definitely wasn't supposed to be drafted in the 5th round. Like they was doing,
I agree.
They was doing the stuff. They was doing the stuff which we all know about. I can't really put the words on it, but they was doing the stuff.
They was doing it.
Y'all just gonna lie? The media has been intentionally lying about Shedeur Sanders for a long time, and people wonder why are they so passionate about Shedeur? Why are there so many Shedeur Glazers?
So you just
why
want
are
to start
you the
trouble.
lieutenant of the Shedeur Glazers? It's because there's blatant and obvious lies told about Shedeur every single day, and we're just supposed to sit here and have y'all talk crazy about this dude. Let's hear another lie from 92.3 and Albert Breer. That's why I don't cover this channel anymore or whatever podcast, because they're peddling lies and they're peddling a raging engagement, and they think that you're stupid. So here's the latest lie. Let's hear it.
I think some of these guys who become really famous when they're very young have some like child star syndrome where they maybe don't fully understand like how they come off. So for example, there were all those rumors, I'm sure you guys remember from Colorado, where he was going to games separate from the team, right? Or like there were all these different things about like all this different stuff that was going on. And I'm not sure Shedeur ever knew like he was doing something wrong. I think he just kind of like, that's been the life that he's lived because of who he is. And so I think sometimes with some of these guys, there can be a little bit of a lack of self-awareness, and that came off in the pre-draft process. And I don't think any of it is evil or dark or anything like that. But I could just tell you, you know, from some of the people who dealt with him, he just had an air about him that he'd arrived. And again, like, I don't even know that that's his fault. Like, I just think that there's like a little bit of that. I'm the son of one of the most famous football players ever to put a pair of cleats on. And I've grown up in this environment where I've always been the biggest name, and I've always...
See, and, you know, the media, I will give them this. They do a really good job at feigning some of their lies and feigning some of their painting of a person as, oh, well, I mean, I don't even blame Shedeur. I think Shedeur is a good kid. That's why I'm just blatantly lying about things and things that are verifiably not true, because right underneath this video, you're gonna, and it's so crazy. I don't know how Shedeur becomes, how do y'all keep lying on him? Dog, he's been recorded since he was in middle school. Can y'all lie about somebody else that doesn't have this much tape proving that he, like, come on, man. It really makes me think some of these NFL scouts, they don't actually do any research. It's starting to make me think some of these NFL executives, right? If you make one person mad, if Deion Sanders makes one person mad, y'all just gonna lie? There he was riding on the bus. Here he is arriving. This is last season, because you see Big Jordan Seaton. Here he is arriving with, you know, Jimmy Horn. That's what's it called? Big Draylon Miller, LeJontay Wester. Y'all know how he get down. That's Shedeur's and Cam Newton's quarterback coach. Some more offensive line. Big boys coming out. You know what I'm saying? All of this, all of that. I think that's Draylon. I think that's Big Draylon. I believe that's Draylon Miller. You know, Big Six. You know what he do. But, you know, as we go on, what's it called? Guess who? Shedeur Sanders right there. And again, if you don't believe that, well, how about non-well-off media? Because, okay, well, maybe well-off media, that's his brother. They just trying to make him look good, Tings. Okay, cool. How about, here he is again. This is a TikTok. And he suited up. I don't know how many of y'all play football. And there he goes, coming off another bus. I don't know how many of y'all play football. But, you know, coach sometimes, especially when it's an away game, they call it a business trip, right? So you got to put your suit on, you feel me? Everybody put their suit on, go crazy. So, I would wish y'all would try to lie about Shedeur with better lies. Like why not have better lies? And, you know, this video, shout out to this TikToker, but actually, these are some of the same videos actually I use, right? But, I mean, there's just plenty of proof. Yeah, okay, this is the same video I had. Plenty of proof, and this is actually from Shedeur too. Plenty of proof of him being out there doing what he needs to do and how he needs to do. So let's get back to it, because I hate to do this, but when you lie about something like that, why do I think that you wouldn't lie about him falling in the 5th round? Now let's hear from Mr. Tony Rizzo. This was November 25th. He was very passionate after Shedeur got his first win, right? Is here.
People don't know
if he's going to be a franchise quarterback yet. It's only been one game. But here's what he did prove. He was no fifth-round draft pick. Aaron, what hurt Shedeur Sanders in the draft, don't misconstrue what happened. The draft was his slide in the draft was about off the field, not on the field.
1,000%.
Mel Kiper grades people based on what they do on the field. That's why he thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. By the way, Cam Ward doesn't look like all that. People are like, "Oh my God, he didn't throw a
not
pick
too
Sunday.
much on my guy, Cam Ward.
His team's won and whatever.
Not too much on my guy, Cam Ward.
So don't start with me, folks. The draft is not an exact science. So get off your high horse. Shedeur wasn't a fifth-round draft pick.
So, and there's been this big argument about Shedeur being a fifth-round pick, yada, 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 right? So, me, since I'm a delusional Shedeur fan, what I did is I got some stats and facts. I brought them together, and I'm going to cross-reference a few things here, right? I'm going to process and put forth things. First off, Albert Breer has been a known Shedeur Sanders hater, right? Like, let's just get that off the beat, right? And this is back in April 24th. This is going to be painted as a slide. The reality on Shedeur Sanders is that it isn't. Most teams didn't see him as a first rounder. A lot of people didn't want to hear that, but it is what it is. Doesn't mean he can't succeed. He still can. Here's the issue, guys. These are the numbers from CFB numbers. Shedeur Sanders drops to 144 was the biggest difference in draft spot versus ESPN pre-draft ranking amongst top 40 quarterbacks since 2004. This is the entire top 40. And I get what you're saying. Well, it's ESPN. These numbers could be skewed. When you have this big of an outlier, the biggest drop, 109-point differences, that there's something major going on. And it definitely was off the field. I wish y'all would keep things the same, right? When y'all link things and say Shedeur Sanders, and I know because I'm gonna have people comment down below, Shedeur Sanders is just bad. When y'all say that, can y'all keep it consistent? Is Shedeur bad or is it off the field stuff? Because y'all flip and flop whenever y'all get a chance. Whenever he does something good, or maybe I don't know, one of the greatest defensive players ever say something about this, right?
The main hurdle to get over when you're a young guy, trying to be a leader is the fact that you really don't understand or realize if you have that platform yet. You just kind of have to be, given to you. You kind of have to be, pushed into it or guided into it. Let yourself, be that person, have that role, and that's by, us as veterans enabling that. Those younger guys, those first, second, third year guys, let them know that this is our team just as much as yours. Take ownership of it. And don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. If you see something, say something. This game, like I said, it goes by quick. So, we can't be mincing words just because we're scared to say something or you don't feel like you have the right yet. Everyone has the right to say something as long as you're out there giving your very best. Speak up.
And that's the uplifting, speaking about the leadership, different things like that, right? You see how notorious what the situation is. Then go back to Albert Breer. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but it's the reality. Dillon Gabriel is ahead of Shedeur Sanders right now, right? Oh, sorry. Oh, no. Sorry, my camera literally exploded while I was recording this. But like I was saying, not only does this highlight, obviously I don't know how many times I say this, but in reality, Dillon Gabriel is ahead of Shedeur Sanders right now and has been since both arrived in Cleveland. Sanders has worked to catch up, but he's got a lot of ground to make up, right? I don't know how to say it, and shout out to Daryl Reuter. I don't know how to say this, but Dillon Gabriel shouldn't be ahead of the ball boys. Every time I watch him, I think to myself, they can't be serious with this kid. And as we've seen, with the way the locker room has announced it, the way that the team has responded to Shedeur being the starter, it's just a night and day difference. They've already had more 30-yard big plays with Shedeur Sanders in 2 games than Dillon Gabriel had in totality. Actually, I think it was Dillon Gabriel and Joe Flacco that he's been out doing there. So it never added up. So which one is it? Is it that he's not there? Because on the football field, it don't look like that. When we see him on the football field, it don't look like that. Remember, Albert Breer is not a Cleveland reporter. Daryl Reuter is a Cleveland reporter that was at all the preseason stuff. And he was like, yo, he's 5'9" and he can't. And this is, I really don't like speaking grimy about Dillon Gabriel. I'm speaking like how football players speak about football players with inadequate size, inadequate records. You were in college for 6 years, right? You had loaded rosters. You had an SEC, technically Big 12 when he was in Oklahoma, SEC roster. Then you go to one of the most loaded Big 10/Pac-12. God, this conference alignment, one of the most loaded Pac-12 what's the Big 10 yet? I don't know. Rosters as well. And again, you did what you need to do. You did what you need to do. I think you had a legendary career, Dylan Gabriel. But the fact that anybody thought that Dylan Gabriel was better than Shedeur Sanders in any way, again, he ran the same. I want to stress this. And before I get into the rest of the lies, I want to stress this. I want y'all to realize. I want y'all to realize. I want y'all to realize how detrimental it is to had to be running the same offense in college, to be getting more the reps, to be handed the keys to the castle, to be told that you're the guy, be propped up as a supercomputer, and you get out there and you piss your pants. And I don't even think it's Dylan Gabriel's fault. I think it's an indictment on Kevin Stefanski. I think it's an indictment on the Browns that they set this situation up to be so terrible. You reached on Dylan Gabriel when no one else wanted him. You did certain things that nobody else would have ever done, right? And it gets real nasty that we have to keep bringing him up because I think Dylan Gabriel's a nice guy. I really do think he's going to be A-okay. But let me take you back. Let me take you back to Albert Breer speaking on Shedeur Sanders' situation and how things went left in a meeting, right?
ESPN turned themselves upside down. Mel Kiper embarrassed himself over this.
Yeah, and if I don't want to say people should have listened to me, but they should have listened to me. Like I was saying for
everybody's
2
smug,
months,
man.
That like
you've been saying he's dropped.
Most of the league does not look at him like he's a first-round talent. Now, I will say this. I think the fall out of the first 2 rounds was about talent and performance. I think the fall after that was about everything else.
Then you become Tebow.
Because I think at that point, like when you get to the 3rd round, now we're talking about for some teams players that are depth or they're developmental, and those players generally have to develop in the shadows. And this was the case. I mean, we've seen a zillion cases of it.
Did you see what he did yesterday?
Your backup quarterback, they want you to blend in with the furniture. It's why Jay Cutler didn't have a second life as a player. It's why Cam Newton didn't have a second life as a player. It's why, again, like why I think Tim Tebow, or at least part of the reason why Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick, after it had been deemed they are no longer starters, had trouble finding jobs. It's so like I think there was that. And then there's the way he handled the process, which he handled the process like he was a top 5 lock. Like, for example.
So, again, it keeps changing. Now, I want y'all to realize that in all of the negativity for the pre-draft process, the biggest thing Shedeur Sanders was carry himself like he thought he was going to be a first-round pick. And it's crazy because if people are like, well, Deion Sanders did that. Well, no, ESPN did that. And NFL Network did that. And Polymarket had the odds at Shedeur Sanders being 45% being favored. So is that just the media? Is that what it is? How about in December 26, 2024, did a 60-40 blend between charted accurate throws, PFF, and my completion percentage over expected model to get a little accuracy composite. These are the 25 draft class plus rank among 95 prospects since 2017. Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, Curtis Rourke in the top 10. So I know everybody wants to sit there and say, oh, well, his completion percentage was because of XYZ. It's because they ran a lot of, they only ran screen passes. This is a cherry picked composite that goes just about how accurate your throws are. Blended composite 84.9. He's ranked the 3rd. These are what the advanced analytics say. The advanced analytics always had Shedeur Sanders as an elite, accurate quarterback that could get the job done. He was the biggest NFL drop in history that's been recorded based on statistics. And then obviously, this is a great thing to say. He said that the 2 teams, this is what Todd McShay said, the 2 teams that had a bad interview, they clarified he wasn't disrespectful or arrogant. They just felt that, and I'm quoting him verbatim, that he didn't care too much about what they thought about him. They're lying about Shedeur because he doesn't grovel. Because he didn't get in those draft interviews and say, well, thank you so much, Massa. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Like, no, what? Yeah, I'm going to change the franchise. If y'all give me some wide receivers and y'all give me some confidence, I'm going to come in here and try to change it. That's what he was saying. And I hate to give more fuel to the fire to the tinfoil people, but this is this is not Deion Sanders saying this. This is not me saying it. This is Von Miller saying what?
Pop it a little bit, like
yeah.
He gonna pop it a little bit. Initially, like when I saw it, I'm like, no, this got to be AI. Like, no, he ain't talking like this.
Nah, that boy was talking fly, man.
He was talking. I was like, no, man. Like I had to look and see. Like I was looking to see if the jersey was right on there, and I was like, no, this really. Oh, that's really him. Like, oh dang, like that's dope, man. Like that's dope, man. And I want to see him have is more success. Like 5th round, he definitely wasn't supposed to be drafted in the 5th round. 1st round, maybe not. But second round, like that's why I always saw him like fitting in. And to see 5th round, that's just way too much. Like they was doing,
I agree.
They was doing the stuff. They was doing the stuff which we all know about. I can't really put the words on it, but they was doing the stuff.
They was doing it in real time. Yep.
In real time, they was doing it, and then they was doing it at this season too. They was doing this stuff.
Yep.
Does Von Miller look like a CU auntie to you? Huh? Does he? So he's saying something that people are saying, hey, something is going on. And when you see things like this, right? When you see these fake religious super MAGA, y'all can say what y'all want to call it. Right? Very, very anti-black. Let's just be honest with you. They don't like black people. These types of accounts posting stuff like this, right?
Win is crazy. It's amazing,
This
is one week of practice, you know what I mean? This 1 week of practice.
It get dangerous.
So imagine, what a full offseason look like. It get dangerous.
So you're clipping him out of confidence and saying this isn't confidence, it's arrogance. He talks like his dad without having the resume and skill set. Do you know Shedeur's first words?
Yeah. Shedeur,
besides
you
that,
here to Las Vegas and not only lead the Browns to a victory, but to your first victory as an NFL starting quarterback. What does this moment mean to you?
God he the only way I made it through it.
The first things besides and big dubs was God. But y'all want me to think that everything is all right. This man thanked God as the first thing that he could do. He thanked God as soon as he got his first win. But they paint him this way. We got video evidence of him riding on the bus with his player. You got Albert Breer telling clear lies about him. Man, and y'all wonder why there's the CU aunties, huh? You wonder why are people why do people make such a big deal about Shedeur? Because y'all are trying to lie about him. Do that with somebody else, I promise you. But when you try to take a black kid that's done nothing but positive, has a positive influence with Deion Sanders as his father, has done positive things for Cleveland. He gave back to the city of Cleveland when that goddamn apartment burned down. I'm so mad about that. I'm mad about how the Cleveland media treats a man who did something that they didn't have the nerve to do. Sports Boy Tony, Ken Carman, Tony Grossi. I didn't see none of y'all out there giving back to that local Cleveland community when that apartment building burned down. You know who I saw? Daniel Ofusi. You know who I saw? Shedeur Sanders. Giving back out of his own love. He wasn't QB. He was QB4. But, it is what it is. They're going to keep telling lies. I'm going to keep debunking them. Y'all be great. I hope you have a blessed day. Like if you like this, like if you don't subscribe, you like football content. We'll see you next time. Peace.